And that means it's that time where we do what it is that we do. And that is majorly putting up focus on everything that concerns you in order to achieving sustainable outcome out of every selected conversation. Well, with that being said, welcome to another edition of The Middle Page, showing on ABN television. And as I enjoin you to actually be a part of it wherever you are watching. Well, here your host as always. My name is Amazing Ekedebe, and this is enjoining you to settle in and be a part of the conversation that is going on your television while we get into the middle of relevant issues as it affects you as a member of today's society. All right, with that being said, to actually give some preamble into our conversation to start the show, reports from the World Bank have said that inflation shock is projected to push about 15 million more Nigerians into poverty between the year 2020 and 2022. From this latest Nigerian Development Update report titled The Continuing Urgency of Business Unusual, the Lending Bank further said that according to several investigations, inflation pressures in the country are driven by certain policy distortions, as Nigeria has one of the highest inflation rates in the world as we speak. These inflation pressures were compounded by policy distortion, in particular in areas such as lack of flexible foreign exchange management, trade restrictions, and conflicting monetary policy goals. Aside from the policy distortion, the COVID-19 pandemic and the war going on in Ukraine have contributed massively to rising inflation, with the bank stating that poverty might be becoming entrenched in several Nigerian households more than expected, particularly in rural areas in the north. And in combating poverty, certain reforms are very, very urgently recommended, which include fiscal, trade, and exchange rate policies that could help diversify the economy, invigorating structural transformation, and creating good, productive jobs, especially wage-paid jobs. With all this information put out, well, that's just a preamble, but then our conversation focus would be analyzing how all of these realities is affecting the business world with regards to sales drive and the state of the current customer base that we have in the scheme of today's marketplace. Now that gives you an idea, but for now we're going to put some hold by going on a break. And that means that it will also give you ample time to settle in to be a part of the entire experience. So do stay tuned as I welcome you once again to a very interesting edition of the Middle Page showing on ABN television. So let's have that break right now and be back in a short while.
Every weekday, we rub minds together to analyze and address contemporary and socio-political issues as it affects the citizens and their regular activities on the Middle Page. Join me, Amazing Ekedebe, and share your perspective on various topics wherever you are, at home, your place of work, on the street, or with your phone, as you join in via our social media platform on Facebook, Instagram, and more. The Middle Page, every weekday, only on ABN Network.
Welcome back. Don't forget you're watching The Middle Page on ABN TV, while our discussion focus remains on customer-centered approach when it comes to increased sales drive, as well as exploring the necessary innovation that is indeed needed with today's evolving marketplace. Customer focus is described as a central tenet of market orientation, described as a set of beliefs that puts the customer interest first, which doesn't exclude those of other stakeholders such as owners, managers, and employees. In order to develop a long-term profitability, customer orientation is also seen as being part of the overall corporate culture, whose values reinforces and perpetuates the focus, placing highest priority on the profitability creation and maintenance of superior customer value, considering the interests of stakeholders. Customer-centered approach provides norm for behavior regarding the organization development and responsiveness to market information, which requires sufficient understanding of the customer in order to create products or services of superior value to them. This creation of value is accomplished by increasing benefits to the buyers or customers while decreasing their costs to develop this level of understanding. All of this necessitates acquiring information about the customer and comprehending the nature of the economic and political constraints that face them, cognizant of the needs of its present and future buyers in the bid to satisfy their collective needs. Despite all of this theory contribution of many scholars on customer orientation, it appears that most client-based organizations in Nigeria are yet to practically adopt customer orientation, resulting in low performance on sales growth, profitability, and market share, as all of this cumulates to the establishment of facts and ideas or insight when it comes to the influence customers can have on business performance, alongside several suggestions that states that customer focus may not be well managed in certain commercial organizations, as it also reflects the status of customer orientation and its impact on business performance. Well, with all of this very big words said, for the purpose of today's discussion, we'll be paying attention to examining the extent to which customer-focused approaches affects business performance and how all this also affects or influences the overall sales growth, including how customer-centered is important to maintaining sales loyalty when it comes to clientele maintenance, and also the relationship between customer focus and market sales drive. Well, I know that sounds a lot for you to assimilate, but don't worry, we'll be making conscious efforts to guide you with this selected conversation on the middle page today, because that is indeed what we do. While paying attention to all this is that time where I'll bring on board my very special guest for the discussion today, where I have the honor of hosting a premium sales and marketing expert actively involved with organizations, businesses, and personal brands to increase their sales revenue. And he's also a digital marketing and communication founder of a group known as Tumuku Media. Well, it's none other than Treasure Carlo, Mr. Treasure Carlo, if I have to be official as that. Well, Mr. Treasure, good afternoon. Well, it's indeed a treasure to have you on the show today. Thank you for
so much.
Coming to the show.
It's an honor to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Okay. All right. Well, I know that today's conversation is quite your area that you're very comfortable with and all. But then, you know, in order for us to start, when we talk about the evolving marketplace, is this something that is more about the book, or, you know, what you call grammar that is used to confuse persons who want to get into that sector? Or is it actually a reality that our marketplaces, from what it was before to how it is now, has changed? And do we say it's a good thing or not so good, or a complicated situation where for you to get involved in the activities and practices, you probably need some, let's say, special preparation in order to get your way around it?
All right. We can say of a truth that the market is evolving. And it didn't just start today. Right from the history of man, the market and several industries have been evolving. So we started out with the Stone Age. The Stone Age, where we had the cavemen, you know, and all of those things that history tells us. And then we moved on to the Agrarian Age, where the economy was fundamentally powered by agriculture. So in that era, people who got to parcels of lands, the first claimed ownership of those lands. At that time, a man's wealth was calculated by the number of children that he had, because the more children one had at that time, the more workforce members that he had to work in his farm. And then we moved on to the Industrial Age. The Industrial Age was the age where people like Africa's richest man emerged from. It was most of our fathers, they worked in the industrial age. They were mostly the 9 to 5 people. And then we moved from the industrial age into the information age, which we've been at for a while. But now the information age has been unveiling different phases. There's been different phases of the information age. So, for example, we have what we called Web 1.0, which gave us the internet. And then we have Web 2.0, which gave us the social media and most of the app technologies that we have. Now we are moving gradually into Web 3.0. So it's been evolving. Yeah? And the truth is, change is the only constant phenomenon. And somebody once says that if you resist change, you will end up in chains. All right, so the question is it a good thing? My answer would be it's both a good thing and a bad thing.
Okay.
The good thing is for those who know how to capitalize on opportunities. For those who know how to capitalize on opportunities, it's going to help them gain prominence. It's going to help them fast track their prosperity. In those days, we used to say things like, it's not easy to get rich quick. But in this age that we live in, by specialized information, if it took your father 40 years to become a millionaire, it can literally take you 5 years to become a millionaire if you know the right tools, you have the right information to leverage on. So for those who know how to catch up with trends.
And so those wealth are not questionable?
No, they are not. As long as it is legit, it's not questionable. Yes. There are a lot of people, a lot of young people, even from this city, that I know that just by leveraging technology, they've literally changed their financial fortunes in very few years of even graduating from the university. Yes. So the bad side of it is those who are resistant to change, those who don't know how to catch up with trend quickly, they will be left behind. And based on the statistics that you read, most of those people are going to be part of the statistics of those who will sink into the poverty abyss. All right, so it's a good thing for those who can catch up with trend. One of the survival skills of this time is the ability to learn concepts quickly and to implement quickly, because things are changing by the day. Even the social media that you use, almost every day there's an update. Yeah, what Instagram was 5 years ago is not what it is now. And you wake up tomorrow, you see another new thing. Twitter didn't have Twitter Spaces a couple of years ago, but is an in thing. And we don't even know what's coming in the next few years. I mean, right now we have smart homes. Everything is going smart. You know, so if you are the type that you are resistant to change, that, this is how we've always known it, this is how it should be, poverty is dialing your number.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that information put out, you know, and with paying attention to what we have to discuss today, establishing the fact that our marketplace is indeed evolving and will continue to evolve. Now, when we talk about today's marketplace and talk about how all of this needs us to double up when it comes to increasing or improving ourselves, and at the same time offering value to the customer, it brings up the question about what is the actual or true place of the customer. Are they just a means to an end, whereby because I need money, let me just make them feel good, get their money, and to hell with them? Or are they a part of the process that from the initiation to the execution and even to the follow-up to ensure whether what you have rendered to them is satisfiable and all? What is the true place of the customer, you know, in other words, the client, in the circle of our marketplace as we speak? And then, you know, if I have to do a second part of that question, how is Nigerian businesses and, yes, and market outfits interpreting the place of the customer, you know, when we compare with how it's done internationally? Are we even getting it right in the first place and all? But then, first of all, what is the true place of the customer in the scheme of things, and how is it being interpreted in Nigeria? The truth is, the customer is the epicenter of the business.
You don't get into business the day you open an office. You know, this is a beautiful studio. You have, you know, from my estimation, this is multi-million-dollar studio, you know. Now you can do all of this. Let's assume this is a corporate office. You can do all of this. You buy all the furniture, everything. That does not make you somebody that is in business. Until you acquire your first customer, you are not yet in business. Because listen, customer is king. I know it has been said several times, but it is true. It's not a cliche. It is what it is. Because without a customer, you are not in business. Customers literally pay your bills. So let's say, for example, let's use this organization as an example. Let's say you people were not getting patronage from customers. You were not doing business with the outside world, regardless of these facilities that you have. No, there won't be any flow of income. How would expenses be sorted? How would bills be paid? How would the staff members be paid? So a customer is the epicenter of business. It's not the office that makes you a business person, it's the customer, because somebody can literally, in fact, with technology now, what we are doing in this massive structure, I can be in my little room with a few gadgets, know what to do, and I'm doing exactly what we are doing here. And somebody does not even need to come to me. In fact, we're in the age of borderlessness, and in borderlessness, there is no significant need to have face-to-face interaction. So for example, as a business person, there are several clients that I've done business with, even internationally. I am yet to meet them on ground for the first time. And we've exchanged good amount of money. So customer is the reason you are in the business. And it's not for you to just sell and make money. No. Your job is to bring transformation to the customer. Your job is to solve the customer's pain point, because every human being you see is a factory of needs. Every human being you see has several pain points, and he's looking for a solution that will meet the pain point. So this is how I like to define selling. Not the conventional dictionary or classroom definition. I define selling as your ability to convince a prospective buyer that the value he or she would derive from your product far outweighs the price that he will pay. So it's an exchange of value. Once you exchange value and you bring transformation to the customer, you have done a good job. There are multiple reasons why people buy. We call them buying triggers. People buy for money, to make more money or to save more money. People buy for status. They want to belong. They want to feel important in the society. People buy for love and companionship. People buy for career advancement. People buy for health and several other reasons. So as a smart business person, you sit down and ask yourself, of these buying triggers, which and which am I called, or is my business tailor-made to solve? That will now form the basis of your marketing message. Then the second question you asked, when you look at Nigeria, are we really getting it right in terms of customer relationship, customer service? I don't love to call it customer service. I love to call it customer experience. There is a huge difference. Technology offers customer service. Your ATM offers customer service. Give you the money. That's why a lot of...
So it's not really revolved around humans.
Yes. Yeah. So what many cashiers were employed to do several years ago, one ATM that will not frown at the customer, one ATM that will not act like you are bothering him or bothering it, is doing that job. And the ATM even has more courtesy to say, thank you for banking with us. But the human being lacks such courtesy most times. So technology is taking the place of customer service. I was in Dubai some months ago, and I walked into a restaurant, and it was a robot that brought the food. A robot brought the food to our table. Few human beings, though some human beings were there to supervise, but a robot is doing the work of a human being. But it takes a human being that has a quality of empathy, sympathy, compassion, love, to offer an experience, because an experience has to do with how I felt, how important you were able to make me feel when I had an interface with you and your business. And if I were to rate Nigerian business generally, in this regard, I'll rate them very poor. Because even right now, I have some projects going on right now, and I'm literally not happy. I mean, people that you've paid so much money to do jobs for you, and you're literally chasing them. You know, you go to the financial institutions, most of the time you get arrogant feedback from the people. They look like, they act like you came there to bug them. Walk into the average fast food restaurant, you will not, it will be rare for you to get good customer service. In fact, there are some fast food restaurants that I literally took an oath that I will be stupid to ever walk into this place again. Why? Because somebody treated me wrongly.
Not because they had a problem with their products.
Sometimes it's even, before we even get to the product, let's talk about the attitude. The attitude, because see, there are 3 dimensions of customer experience. The welcome, the way you receive the person into your business premises, whether virtual or physical. The welcome. Number 2, the service delivery, how you deliver your service, which has to also do with speed of delivery, because speed is the language of this current marketplace. And then the goodbye, the parting words. See you next time. Hope to see you next time. How do you welcome the person? Good to see you. You smile. But we don't do all of those things. We just do like, this guy has just come to trouble my life. You know, you ask a question, it looks like an offense. A few months ago, I was to do a marketing campaign for a client, so we needed to send bulk SMS, and the client had given me huge amount of money to buy bulk SMS. So I went on the internet, I made researches, I saw some names on Google. I called the one that appealed to me. After going through their page, there was something I was not very clear about, and I called, and the guy just said, the way you saw it there, that's how it is. That's how it is. And he was already acting like I was disturbing. I said, you are sounding like we are quarreling. He said, no, because you are asking like I said, sorry. Do you know you have just lost a huge business? I just cut the phone. It means you don't deserve my money. Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And until you are able to win the heart of the customer, the money is in winning their heart. They will not open their wallets for you, because even the Bible said that where your treasure is, there will your heart be. So there's a heart connection there's a connection between the heart and the wallet. If you are not winning my heart, my wallet is going to go to another person and your business will suffer for it. And it pains me for several business owners, because they spend a lot of time, put out structures, but they ignore the training, the capacity building, to bring their staff members up to international best practices. Somebody that I know bought something from Amazon, and he was even the one that made the mistake, and the thing came a bit late, and he was really angry, and that he even asked for a refund. Guess what? Later, Amazon was able to track the mistake. They gave him his refund, number 1. Then that original thing that he bought, that he requested for, that was mixed up, they still sent it to him and asked him not to bother returning the other one, that he can take everything. Do you think tomorrow, if he wants to buy anything elsewhere, he will? So see, the people in the Western world, they understand this better. Let me give you another example. Some years ago, I walked into a fast food restaurant with a mentor of mine, where to buy bread. The fast food restaurant was run by Lebanese, and they were baking the bread on demand. But this one took time. We were there for almost 45 minutes. And later, this Lebanese guy walks out with the bread, about 4 loaves of bread. I said, oh, sorry, sir, I've wasted your time. My mentor was about to pay. Guess what happened? This Lebanese guy says, sir, don't pay. I have wasted your time. But I'll be looking forward to having you here again. That mentor of mine, there was no guest of his that he hosted in that city that he didn't take to that restaurant. So most times we are short-sighted, that we are looking at what we can gain now, forgetting that one loyal customer is a walking multi-billion-dollar investment to your business, because he's a doorway to even several other customers that he can bring into. So if you can, customer experience is actually what you use to transform just normal customers to what we call brand evangelists. These are people that will literally carry your business on their head like a religion, and they'll be spreading your news everywhere.
Okay. Well, that was very, very detailed and all. But then, while we still talk about, customer-centered approach to sales drive and all, we also need to, pay attention to the peculiar situation. For instance, that example you gave about probably the person who responded to your inquiries regarding the bulk SMS.
Yeah.
Maybe, it could be possible that several other calls he had responded to nicely ended up being a fluke. Maybe just people who wanted to while away time or just typically waste his time. And so maybe it kind of gave him a terrible impression, and he felt that, anyone who was detailed in their services was not serious. That is not to hold brief or make excuse for him. But then I'm using that as a reference to us talking about peculiarities. When we talk about customer-centered approach, it definitely comes with peculiarities, because customers, the customer side of business is usually called a very unpredictable phase because of how diverse we are from personality, attitude, and what have you. So these peculiarities, what can you say about that? And in trying to probably stand to maintain some standards and, all of that in all the other variables that, is required in business and in dealing with those peculiarities, how do we err? That is, in what ways do we seem to get it wrong as businesses? And, probably just making, using Nigerian businesses or marketplace as a point of reference.
Okay, the truth is, as a business person, as somebody that relates with people, you need a high level of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence will give you an edge in the marketplace and in any industry. You need to learn how to be several things to several people. As a business person, to some people, you are going to be a consultant. To some people, you're going to be an educator. To some people, you're going to be a counselor. To some people, you will even be a therapist. So, it's a lot of expectation on the business owner. This is where training and development comes in. Yes, it's not like customers are always right. Customers are not always right. In my training session, there's what I call customers sent from hell. They will stress the heck out of you. And most times, it's even the low-paying customers that stress you the most. But that does not mean that you should pay them back in their own coin. This is where you should show yourself bigger than them. So let me give you an example. Let me use the popular issue that's been trending for a while, domestic abuse, domestic violence, as an example. You see a man will slap his wife. And he say, oh, you see what you made me do to you? Baby, I love you. See what you made me do to you. You were the one that caused it. Why did you tell me that kind of thing? Now the question is, if that man were driving on a sunny day and he ran into policemen and there was an argument and a policeman or an army man slapped him, is he going to retaliate? Most likely no. So it means the ability to be offended and still keep calm is in him. He's a bully. He's a bully. Most times people look for, they size you up, and once they notice that it looks like you are weak, because some of those people that act rudely to customers, another man will come in maybe with 15 protocol officer, and we come in big, like that somebody just walked in. He will even talk harshly to them, and they are saying, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So that's why we don't even make excuse for that. What you do is go and learn. Go and learn. It's called emotional intelligence. There's a way to dissipate pressure. Yeah, there's a training for that, to dissipate pressure when it looks like people are just putting pressure on you. There are trainings for that. So you learn these things, but most times we don't learn these things. We think it's just opening the office that, yeah. So that is where we are right now.
But then, like I try to, the area I also wanted to connect it with is avoiding some customers abusing certain privileges.
Yes.
Is that still also revolved around emotional intelligence?
Yes, it revolves around emotional intelligence, but there's a skillful way, an intelligent way. There are some customers that you can literally stop from doing business with you. So let me give you a practical.
It's a necessary.
Yes, because you need to protect your space. Recently, I blocked a customer on my WhatsApp without apologies because of the drama. This guy was literally putting me under mental pressure. I can't start sharing details here, but I did everything, all the sweet mouth, because I should be a preacher of what I teach. So I was literally practicing what I teach others on him, but it was almost getting messy, but nevertheless, I went the extra mile to make sure that everything was resolved amicably. But I wanted to protect my space. And the only way I could do that was to use the block button on him. Okay, so you don't fight physically, but there's an intelligent way. Okay, so let me give you a vivid example. There's a church I used to attend when I was in Lagos. There was a program one day, and one guy slapped an usher. Now, the other people didn't come and then slapped him. But after they were done with him, he will not try that in his life again. They first isolated him, kept him in a room first to be chilling, kept him there. By the time they now started talking to him, he was even ashamed of himself. So there's an intelligent way to do this. Sometimes customers can get unruly. You can call the security. But don't start exchanging words. Is it because I'm here? Do. You don't even tell a customer, calm down. In professional ethics, it's wrong for you to tell a customer, calm down.
Oh, really?
Yes, you don't say that. Especially when a customer is trying to express himself. Say, calm down now. It's wrong. You allow them then. So I understand. I get your point. Yeah. When the person, because most times customers the truth is, the customers who come to even complain, they are the ones that want to continue doing business with you, because statistics have shown that the customers who don't complain, they quietly go away and never return. It's the ones who have become attached to your brand that complain, so that you can make amends and they can continue having business with you. So that's why a lot of emotional intelligence is required to handle that.
Okay. Well, if there's one area that we totally have been able to establish in the course of the conversation so far, is the need for emotional intelligence as a business operator, or one who is an active practitioner in the business world. Because the truth is, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown when it comes to having business success and maintaining a healthy clientele base and sales drive. Well, we're still all about the conversation that revolves around the customer, or customer-centered approach or insight when it comes to increased sales drive as a business person, or one that is involved in business activities. And what better person to actually guide us through this path than a sales expert himself? Well, Mr. Treasure Carlo is still here in the studio doing justice to our selected conversation, but at this time it will be necessary that he gets his breath for a while, and as well as you. When we return as well, we'll probably be making out time for you to also be involved in the conversation, which means that the phone lines will be shown on the screen after the breather, where your questions, observation, and will I say contribution to how all of these areas is handled in our typical business environment could be addressed. Because the truth is, customer is king, but at the same time, even the king needs some sort of control. But how can we do this in a very wise and, will I say, in an intelligent way, where we do not cause our own, will I say, disadvantage, or I don't know, I don't want to use the other word that just comes to mind. Let's have that breather at this time and be back in a short while.
Every weekday, we rub minds together to analyze and address contemporary and socio-political issues as it affects the citizens and their regular activities on the middle page. Join me, amazing academic, and share your perspective on various topics wherever you are. At home, your place of work, on the street, or with your phone. As you join in via our social media platform on Facebook, Instagram, and more. The Middle Page, every weekday, only on ABN Network.
Okay, well, welcome back from that breather, as we're still all about customer-based or customer-centered approach when it comes to increased sales drive. But then these are one in the, will I say different piece in the pod, but still an important connection that we need to establish. But why we establish it also being done in the right way that could ensure some level of sustainability. Well, in the studio, we still have our expert who is all about sales and marketing in the person of Mr. Treasure Carlo. Well, Mr. Treasure, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So far we've taken a tour around understanding today's marketplace. We've understood the innovative approach when it comes to client or customer complications and what have you, and still maintain some level of a healthy relationship and all. Now, let's look at sales drive as it is, and how important is it? Because there was a statement you said about, how so much investment may not accumulate to you having reciprocated returns.
Yeah.
Now, when we put that as a term, sales drive, and, its importance, and, how all of this could be captured in a lot of businesses, while still maintaining value, how could we achieve that sort of combination?
Okay, I'm not sure I'm very clear.
No, I'm trying to say that, understanding, first of all, what is sales drive?
Okay.
And in understanding what sales drive is, if we connect it with also rendering value as well, how can such combination be achieved?
Okay.
And, to keep it sustainable and progressive?
Okay, the truth is, both of the things you just mentioned, they are one and the same thing. Because remember, at some point, I defined selling as your ability to convince a prospect that the value that he will derive from your product or service far outweighs the price that he or she will pay. All right? So selling is all about value, really. It's all about value dispensation. There's a huge difference between sales and marketing. Most of what people call sales is not sales, it's marketing. Most people really tend towards marketing. So let me explain the difference. So marketing, I will use an illustration. Marketing is like casting your net, a fisherman casting his net into the sea to catch fishes. That is marketing. When he throws that net into the sea, he's not going to catch the whole fishes in the sea. He's going to catch some and pull them out. When he pulls them out, he's going to start picking the fishes from the net to his boat that is selling. So this is what marketing does. Marketing brings the crowd to the door. Sales brings the people that marketing has brought to the door into the room. Some can get to the door and get stuck at the door and never get into the room. So the marketers, they bring traffic or they generate leads. Why the salespeople? Because selling is a conversation. So it's the salespeople that will not start that conversation to find out the unique and the peculiar needs of the prospect. So it's the salespeople that will do conversion. Marketers, they generate leads. The salespeople, they convert the generated leads into paying customers. So it's one and the same thing, but it's just that in most organizations, both roles are combined. It's only a few organizations that separate both roles. But the truth is, as somebody who is in sales, you really would have the unfair advantage, as I call it, if you know how to effectively combine sales and marketing. I hope you get it.
So in this situation, is there room for, will I say, which is more priority to the other? Because also some organizations do that. They say, okay, which is more important, sales or marketing? Is that a healthy approach to, those two factors or two areas?
Well, the truth is both of them are not mutually exclusive, okay? Meaning they can exist together, okay? And most times they exist together because the purpose of marketing is to eventually lead to sales, but it may be on the long term. So some companies have gained a lot of relevance. They have a lot of, they have a robust customer base. So what they are doing, so many of the top brands that we have all over the nation and the world, yeah, you see billboards everywhere, you see flyers, you see jingles on TV, on radio. They are marketing brand awareness. They just want to create brand awareness because in this time that we live in, attention is currency. So you want to keep your memory fresh in the mind of your customer. You want to keep it fresh. So right now, some of the telecoms organizations have done a good job that if, for example, you see a yellow, there's a company that will come to your mind.
Okay.
In the telecoms. You see a red, there's a company that will come to your mind. You see a green, there's a company that will come to your mind. How did they achieve that? Marketing, advertisement, because statistics have proven that it takes an average of 7 to 12 exposures for a prospective customer to finally make a buying decision.
Ooh.
So they have
It's not a one-off.
No, it's not a one-off. It's not a one-off. It's not. So that's why you keep seeing those adverts. But you that is a small business owner, you do not have robust budget to be doing brand awareness. So what you need is leads generation and conversion. So you shouldn't be investing money in billboards as a small business owner because billboards will not give you instant returns. They will just make people know, oh, these guys are here. Oh, they have an office here. But that will not necessarily make them to say, okay, let me go to their office. So you need lead generation, and that's where selling comes into play, where the salespeople now start engaging the market mostly on a one-on-one basis or in a small group basis, because selling is really mostly one-on-one or in a group basis. Once I was at your gate, one popular fintech company from Lagos that I use their services, I saw the number, I knew it must be that the one that provide cable services on one of this one because I am using and so as soon as I pick, so I'm from so-and-so place, I say, please, I'm driving. Can we talk later? What was he about to do? He either wanted to sell a new product that they've launched, or he just wanted to follow up on me to keep their memory. In fact, it's been long I thought about them, but just the fact that he said, I'm from so-and-so, he has refreshed my memory of them. Because attention is really scarce. You know how it was. Pick up your phone and say you want to go on Instagram to post something for yourself. As soon as you get there, before you know, you just see one attractive thing in your explore page. Say, let me just see this thing. Bam. You just see it. Just see somebody dancing. Before you know, that will lead you somewhere else. Before you know, it leads you in another place. Before you know, 1 hour has gone past. What you said you were going to do for yourself on Instagram, you've not done it. So attention is scarce. So everybody is literally battling for attention. Okay. All right, so you must keep it out there. That's why we have sponsored ads. So small business owners, it doesn't take much. As little as 2,000 naira, as little as even 1,000 naira daily, you can get lead conversion. They call it conversion adverts. That just puts people in the decision mode instantly. You generate conversion advert. There's what we call copywriting. You write compelling copies that move people to take action. There are people they call copywriters. You go to some site, when you read the information about their product, you are literally looking for money to want to buy that product. Or if you don't have the money, you are literally saying, oh, I must buy this, you are bookmarking them because somebody has sat down to write an intelligent copy on that product. So small business owners should focus on conversion advert, and the social media platforms that we have today have really made that very simple. So you don't need to have multi-million naira dollars to put your face out there. Then as you grow, you scale, Then also we have what we call retargeted advert, and it doesn't require a big budget. I don't know if you have ever clicked an advert on the internet once. You clicked on an advert, maybe on Facebook or any of this platform, and the advert started following you everywhere. You are opening an app, you are seeing the advert.
Sometimes it's being derived from your browsing pattern.
Yes, so that's what we call retargeted ads. Why are they doing that? It's attention. They want to follow you until you make a decision. You know, so technology has really made this thing way easier. You know, before you have to go on newspaper, go on radio, go on TV, and not all. In fact, it's very few small business, not micro, because small businesses are even big. Not many of us are big enough to be called small businesses.
Okay.
Because by statistics, I think for small businesses, I don't have the facts right now, but for a small business, I think yearly you should be generating somewhere between 50 million naira and above. 15. Yes, yeah. So it means not many of us are not even big enough to be small business. The major population, they are in the micro.
All right. Well, that's a very important fact to establish. Well, yes, seriously, time is flying, but then it would be quite a disservice if we do not get, you know, your professional recommendation. And this time I'm going to merge it with looking at, you know, some sort of step-by-step. I know maybe that may be a little bit too professional, but maybe just a preamble, because with what we've talked about so far, it means that there is a process. Yeah. And with various studies and inquiries, it looks like a lot of businesses are not aware of the processes. And so a lot of them want to cut corners, take a big leap, or they're just basically going around in circles. So now when we talk about increased or improved sales drive while maintaining a customer-based approach to it, what would you recommend as a guide or a step-by-step? How do you even start? And how, you know, what pace should you progress? And, you know, possibly even capture the part where you say that for what the big companies are doing, the small or micro should have their own, will I say, unique version. So what would be their own unique version? Because a lot of times what the big companies are doing could be very compelling, that you, the micro ones, could drive yourself day and night just to do a little of that. And like you said, it's very capital intensive. So if there's something unique for them, what would that be? And, you know, how do you keep that momentum maintained while building it up?
Okay, so micro and small businesses can actually do their own version, of what big corporate organizations are doing. And what do they need? They need three things. Number one, systems. Number two, processes. Number three, structure. The average micro and small business today in Nigeria does not have structure. They play it by the ear.
Are they not too small to have that? Because that's what a lot of them argue, that they're too small.
No, that's where they are missing. That's why they are not growing, and that's why the fatality rate of businesses is high. Statistics have shown that for every 10 businesses that get open at a time, that
only 2 to 4 survive.
Only 2 to 4 survive after 5 years. So it's very high. Why? It's a game of structure. Most people, they treat their businesses as hustles, not as businesses. What makes a business is structure and processes. And structure and processes does not mean that for a start, document your structure and processes. Have a hierarchy, have an organogram. Define all the roles. You need an accountant. You need to separate business money from personal money. Most small and micro businesses don't do that. The owner takes it all. The owner wants to buy a recharge card. He takes from the business money. When ideally, he should be on salary in his business. So he's only permitted to spend within his salary. You know, so you must have structure. Define all the roles. HR, training and development, sales and marketing. Define all of them first. Can I recommend a book? Is it permissible?
Well, okay, yeah, you could call it.
Okay, so there's a book that would help anybody listening right now. Go get it. It's specifically written for small business owners to help them build structures. It's titled The E-Myth. The myth, that is E, letter E, dash myth, M-Y-T-H. The E-Myth Revisited. It's written by Michael Gerber. Search for it, get it. It will help you. You will understand processes, structures, and systems as applicable to micro and small businesses. At least start from the documentation, and then as you grow, you begin to fill those roles. But there's something that documentation does for you. It gives you clarity. Then as you grow, for a start, one person may be doing multiple roles, especially the business owner. Yeah, but as you begin to grow, gradually discipline, you begin to define specifically those roles. So small businesses can do that by these 3 things that I've mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is to say that indeed increased sales drive is an intentional effort that needs to be made continuously over time. And, you know, possibly over time it now becomes a lifestyle.
Yes.
Okay. And at the same time, not forgetting to capture the customer in the midst of all of this. So, you know, if I have to, you know, to wrap this up, you know, the place of the customer, if we have to do some sort of diagram, is the customer in the middle, or is the customer top, or left or right?
The truth is, the customer is at the top.
Oh, it's at the top.
Because listen, this is where a lot of businesses
are they not supposed to be in the center and then everything revolves around them?
Well, why I said the top is, every business is designed to solve a problem for a customer. Ideally, you shouldn't even design a product. Where we miss it is, we design products, then we go look for customers for the product. Ideally, you should look for the customer. You should look for the market. Then you tailor-make the solution based on your research and survey to suit their pain point.
Okay.
That's what we call your customer avatar in sales and marketing. Your customer avatar is an ideal picture of is a picture of your ideal customer. So if you were to have only one customer in the whole wide world, who would that person be? Is it male or female? What's the age demographics? Where does the person work? Where does the person live? How much does this person earn? What are his fears? What are his goals? What are his aspirations? These are things that we do them practically in sales and marketing, and you come up with a clear picture so that when you get into the marketplace, just in a sales conversation, you can easily tell if this is my ideal customer or not. Because your ideal customer is that man or woman who will buy from you with little or no resistance. Because there's a strong connection.
Which thereby builds up to brand loyalty.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah. Well, you've heard it. Well, the marketing and sales expert himself has spoken, and it's none other than Mr. Treasure Carlo. Well, I must say thank you very much. And so I believe you're on social media.
Yeah,
please quickly give that in a few seconds.
Okay, on Instagram, my handle is @InspiringTK. In fact, across all social media, I'm InspiringTK. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Inspiring TK. TK is spelled T-E-T-E-E-K-A-Y.
Okay.
Yes.
Inspiring TK. So get yourself inspired a little more with him online via those various social media, Inspiring TK. Well, yes, we've inspired you, hoping that we've inspired you enough to begin to put in the work when we talk about, you know, customer-based or customer-centered approach when it comes to increased sales drive, and knowing that all of this are just a piece of, you know, a piece of a pie that needs to be put together in order to achieve the cumulative profit, advantage, and sustainability. Well, with all that being said, this is how far we can get to the middle of our conversation today, and I'm hoping you have indeed learned a lot, while appreciating our guests so much more for doing proper justice to this conversation. Thank you indeed.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and thank you to you as well for watching. Continue to watch ABN Television to enjoy the best of our programs on Star Times channel 140, and we stream online round the clock 24/7, and that is www.abn.ng/live. And on social media, we are ABN TV, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and across other important platforms. And plus, the middle page is active and available for you to catch up with previous edition on ABN middle page. Well, with all that being said, my name still remains Amazing Ekedebe. Thank you so much for the time and wishing you all the best. Take care of yourself and have a wonderful day.